Welcome, everyone. I think we'll get underway with today's webinar, which is brought to you by Northeast TechNExt Festival, which is part of the new UK Tech Week initiative, which is in its first year. And the idea of that initiative is to celebrate the tech ecosystem across the UK. So TechNExt wanted to be part of that week. So TechNExt launched in 2023. It's hosted by the Northeast Tech Network Dynamo Northeast, which is a membership organisation, and co-hosted by Sunderland Software City and event partners Beacon House Events. I'm Sarah Thackeray, co-founder of Beacon House Events and one of the directors of Dynamo Northeast.
And hi everyone, my name is Jamie Hardesty. I'm Director of Comms and Ecosystem Development at Sunderland Software City. We're part of the fabric of the Northeast tech community. And we exist to help drive the growth of the tech sector. So really excited to be bringing TechNExt back and being the best part of UK Tech Week as well.
Thanks, Jamie. So before we get started with the webinar today and hear from the brilliant speakers we've got lined up, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to let you know a little bit more about the plans for this year's TechNExt Festival, which happens between the 17th and the 21st of June. It's a festival co-curated with the Northeast tech community, so it's really one big family celebrating what is great about the Northeast tech sector. So as the last year was the first TechNExt Festival, we welcomed over 3,000 attendees to more than 50 events across the 5 days of the festival, which was pretty incredible given we had sort of a 5-6 month lead-in time. Our aim for this year is to achieve a broader geographical spread of our fringe and our programme across the Northeast area and to reach wider audiences as well. We have all the local authorities backing us again across the Northeast region, which is fantastic. And we couldn't do what we do without our brilliant headline sponsors, who are Leighton, Opencast and Sage. So thank you guys very much for all your support to make this festival happen and showcase the great things we have in the Northeast. So on the next slide, you can see a little bit more about the detail of what we've got planned. So once again, we're bringing back some of the key curated events, such as the Tech Talent Live, which is a careers fair, the industry dinner and the main stage conference and the festival party. But new for 2024, we've got the Schools Challenge. So as part of our mission to extend the reach of the audiences for this year, we wanted to engage with young people of school age. So we're really pleased that Newcastle Strategic Solutions have decided to sponsor this new element, which connects pupils in the classroom with the tech sector and helps them and encourages them to come up with new tech innovations to answer real life problems. A few of those schools that will be entering and will then be invited to join us in Durham for an event on the Tuesday, which will be hosted by Charlie Charlton, ex-BBC Radio Newcastle. So it should be a great morning, full of energy, brilliant ideas, and hopefully showcasing the work from those brilliant children who've come up with some fantastic ideas. We're also hoping that a part of the legacy will be that we'll share that work and those ideas from the kids more broadly across the Northeast following the festival. So more to follow on that. If you do know any schools who might be interested in getting involved, please send them to our website, technext.co.uk, and they can find out the details there. The deadline is the 3rd of May, which is next Friday, so not too long for them to get their ideas in, but still time. Across the whole week as well of the festival, we have the Festival Fringe, which really is the backbone of the festival, and really, you know, it's the tech community that makes the festival as great as it is. They showcase all the brilliant things they're doing in their organisations and bringing people together to share ideas and learn from each other, network and so on. So there's a huge programme of Fringe again planned this year and should have more than 50 events again across the region. So please do visit the website again to see what's already on there. There's many more events still to add to that schedule. If you'd like to get involved yourselves, we'd love to hear from you. So please do submit your event idea for the Fringe on our website. You'll see the form. It's entirely free to organisations to get involved. So please do tell us what you could offer. So I'll now leave you with a short video to showcase a bit more about the plans for June, and then Jamie will take over from there.
Thanks, Sarah. I was almost in a little bit of a trance listening to the music and the flashing images there, but I'll go straight into what we've got next. So, TechNext is nothing without some of the leading innovators, operators, and employers that we're lucky to have here in the Northeast from right across the tech sector. And what we thought we'd do today was give you a bit of a flavour or a taste for some of the real leading lights that we have here in the region. So I'm really delighted to be joined by Steve Morland from Leighton, Henry Rex from Opencast, and Mike Goodwin from Sage, who will all be talking about some of the important work that they're doing up here in the Northeast, and equally some of those exciting game-changing projects that they have as well. So what we're going to do is each will present, and then we'll have some time for questions as well. So if anyone does have a question for any of our speakers today, please do drop it into the Q&A section that you can see at the bottom of the screen. And yeah, until then, just sit back, enjoy, listen and learn. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Steve to come and join us and present first.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, my name's Steve. I'm the CTO at Leighton. I'm going to be talking a little bit about digital transformation, which is something that Leighton does quite a bit of. It's a strange term. It's been around for a number of years, as long as I can pretty much remember. And what does it actually mean, really? And I think from my point of view and from the point of view of Leighton, it's that's kind of what I'm going to dig into. What does digital transformation mean, and how do we do it at Leighton? So there's kind of three main areas that we look at. The first two I won't dip into too much. They're kind of organizational design, which is how businesses can set themselves up to transform successfully. So that's kind of looking at products, product ownership, and the product roadmaps, so they can lead those products from, be it offline to online, or from online to a better version of them online. The second part is, again, not my specialty, but the UX of that, which is incredibly important. Getting the right user experience for a product, be that a form that does something for your business and enables your business to be better. Getting the experience right so users can interact with it in a way that is efficient and does the job properly. There's loads of really great information about this that the UX team at Leighton look into, which is, you know, user-driven design, user-centric design, and engaging with your users to build really engaging products. The third bit is the technology, which is the bit that I do. So the bit I can talk a bit better about, a bit freer about. And I think what we find at Leighton is our customers, who are from small, medium and large enterprises, all have very similar problems, maybe in different scales, but very kind of similar pinch points. A lot of them have taken things online and maybe not seen the benefit of taking them online. And we come in and kind of help modernize that a little bit. So that can be anything from the user experience, as mentioned, but from sort of scale and the resources that are used to implement a product. So yeah, for a small business, it might be kind of resource light. They don't want to pay as much. Transforming a product into a, with that in mind, to reduce the cost of it, is really important to them. It's important to all of them, but maybe more important to a small business. Whereas a large business, a large enterprise, it might be transforming it to handle a much larger scale of user inputs. And they all have a different sort of strategy. What we found, a lot of our customers at Leighton have taken things online and then taken them into the cloud. The cloud promised a great deal of magic If you put it in the cloud, it will be amazing. It'll work better. It'll be cheaper. A lot of those things weren't realized. And that's just because it was moved. It was moved from one implementation to another without a lot of changes. One of the things we specialize in is kind of modernizing, so making it more cloud native, which in fact makes it kind of cheaper and more performant. And it unlocks all the benefits that the cloud kind of offers. For us, that's a lot of AWS development. That's kind of what we specialize in. And really just working in a product space to kind of improve and develop these products so they're, from the very start, super responsive, incredibly cheap to run, and give the best value to all the stakeholders, including the users who use it, but also the business people who kind of run it. And they're kind of the three main aspects of what we do when we're planning a project. The implementation of that is another thing. Delivering products, I think, works best by delivering as often as possible to customers, to the users. So delivering as sprints and releasing features as often as we can, and getting that user feedback. So instead of thinking of a product as a product that you're transforming as a fixed entity, it is a constantly changing entity, which makes it quite hard to pin down and know when it's finished. But the reality is it's never really finished. A product will always evolve with the user base. And if it's not evolving, it's probably stagnant and probably needs revitalized in some way. Again, when we build products for our customers, some of them have been going on for now, as long as I've been at Leighton, which is 10 years. We've been working on one product in particular, and we're constantly refining it with the customer, constantly adding new features and delivering those features into the user's hands, working with the feedback. Understanding how to get that feedback is really important. So monitoring and gathering statistics about usage and interaction, and feeding all that back into the backlog. So it's constantly evolving, constantly refining, and constantly delivering. And that is how we kind of handle digital transformation as a Leighton team. We supply people who can kind of do this. We supply teams that can do this, and they specialize in it. And we see really great results, really great engagement with our customers and their users in the products.
Amazing. Thank you, Steve. You're clearly super passionate about what you do. And I noticed, you know, when you opened and you said, we do three things, and then
Yeah.
your little face lit up when you said, and we do technology. And, you know, as the CTO, you know, you are a technologist yourself. I always think we're very lucky in the Northeast that we have quite a buoyant, quite a healthy meetup scene. There's a lot of appetite to share learning. Could you tell us a little bit about kind of how you nurture the dev team at Leighton, and kind of how you guys approach kind of continuous movement and learning?
This is something that we're working on right at the moment. So as you know, Jamie, I moved into the CTO role very recently, at the start of this financial year. And we are currently, previous to this, it was very much done by individuals. So there's me and a number of people within Leighton are very engaged with the community. We do a lot of the meetups, we do a lot of talking, we develop some open source software that we release. But within Leighton, we're hiring or interviewing within the team for people to take on a kind of community lead role, as we're calling it, which is to help develop our team's sort of L&D, learning and development, and also to kind of engage with the outside world. Because it is a community-driven industry. It's not an industry that is driven by individuals sitting in rooms writing code. Being part of the community is incredibly important because you get so many ideas from it. You get so much input on best practice. We are really lucky that the people who run a lot of the meetups bring amazing speakers from outside of the UK, outside of the area, up to the northeast, and sometimes it feels like we're quite far away from London, but we're not really. But getting those quality people in, we have a lot of solution architects from AWS come to the AWS ones, it is really important. Building brands for individuals, I think, is quite important as well. Not that we want people to build a brand and leave Leighton. We want them to build a brand and kind of be known, like be a face in the industry, and we get the benefits from that as an organization. So we really try and push our people into at least writing something down. Every project has something interesting in it, even if it's a tiny little thing. Some have some amazing big parts, but write something down into an article. We can help you publish. Speak about it at an event if you want to, but I would never make anyone do it because a lot of people don't like public speaking. And kind of, yeah, just work on yourself. It's really important for your career, I think.
Cool. No, I completely agree. It makes total sense. And I guess this is why you've you've backed TechNext. You've wanted to get involved, get amongst it, because it is a way to have that sort of cross-pollination of ideas and facilitation of learning and conversation.
Yeah. I think we did I think one Fringe event last year that I helped run with the team here around kind of serverless architecture. It was a really good experience. Not going to say it was the best run event in the world, but we learned a lot as well as the people that came along.
But you're telling me techies don't run great events?
Well, we're not gifted in event management, I suppose.
Then the event management people like myself, if something goes wrong with the tech, we just turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah.
So it's a nice happy medium.
Yeah, and then this year we've obviously went kind of a bit more all in. Headline sponsor. We are running sort of 3 themes of events. Obviously digital transformation, which I'll be a big part of. We're doing a lot about accessibility, which we've got some, I think, quite exciting speakers for a panel discussion on each of these, and we're going to be doing something around AI as well. Our team has been doing a lot of research into AI and working on a couple of customer projects with large language models and that kind of thing. And we want to again get some people from outside the area along to that Fringe event, be part of the panel, and just explore the subjects, I suppose.
Yep. Makes sense. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you for being a big part of the festival, and we certainly look forward to seeing you there and getting amongst it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, next up we have Henry Rex from Opencast, who's going to talk a little bit about Opencast's approach and their partnerships that they do with government. So for those who don't know, Opencast is one of the largest companies that we have up here in the tech space in the Northeast. Full service UK tech consultancy, specializing in design, build, running user-centric digital and tech solutions. So we're very excited and happy that we've got Henry to talk to us. So I'll be quiet now and I will pass you over to Henry.
What an intro, Jamie. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thrilled to be here. My name's Henry Rex. I'm the Director for Government Relations at Opencast. And, as Jamie just said, I'm new enough to Opencast, only a few months in, but hopefully people won't mind me saying this. I think Opencast is a sort of phenomenal Northeast success story. We're really proud of the team we've built in the Northeast, the growth we've managed. And yeah, that's why we're delighted to be, for the second year in a row, a headline sponsor for TechNext. Yeah, who are Opencast? As Jamie said, we're a sort of classic digital technology consultancy. Doing as James said, design, delivery of product. We've got big architecture practice, big user-centered design practice, big software delivery practice. Really, what we're all about though is just we're obsessed with delivering great experiences for people digitally. So whenever anyone has an interaction with a digital service, we want to make that as easy, as frictionless, as seamless for them as possible, as efficient. And a big part of that, and come to that later, of course, is those who aren't naturally digital or digitally excluded. And I always like, whenever I'm talking about digital experiences, making sure we sort of caveat that with that digital first approach does absolutely include sort of the digital, that digital poverty gap as well. So whoever you are, we want to make sure that the experience is as good as possible with a product or service you're using. We have a particular focus, not exclusive, but particular focus on working with government. So they're not the only people we work for, but a huge portion of our work is with the public sector for a variety of reasons. Firstly, public sector, the government does really interesting, complex, exciting stuff. It's infinitely rewarding place to work. It's, infinitely interesting. They have all the challenges that any sort of enterprise scale organization will have around, managing a workforce, around, efficient operations, etc., with some really specific and really niche services they offer, that they offer in some cases to huge variety of people. Government is the only place you can work where if you want to, work with people that work with whole populations, and they're the things that only government does, be it revenue collection, paying out benefits, grants for universities, healthcare provision, etc., etc. These are the purview of the public sector. So it's a fascinating place to work. Technically, it's a hugely rewarding place to work in terms of, if you want to build great digital experiences, oftentimes the people using government services are, you interact with government often when you're at quite a challenging point at your life, when you're quite vulnerable. So it's hugely important to get that right. If you've been, you've lost your job, or if you've had a child, maybe you're not vulnerable, but it's certainly a stressful time, etc. Or if you're unwell. So it's sort of, from a sort of socially impactful point of view, a great place to work. And I suppose the other reason is we're quite a, well, I think we're a great Northeast success story. We're still quite a young company. We were only founded in 2012, and that was really, we were founded right in the, at that time, that was right in the heart of kind of the government digital revolution. So the coalition government came in with this report done by Baroness Leighton Fox called Digital by Default, and it was kind of brought in this amazingly exciting revolution in how government provides services to citizens, and brought in this to Steve's earlier point, brought into government this philosophy around agile, around user-centered delivery, about putting citizen right at the heart of service provision. People don't care whether something's provided by DWP or HMRC or whatever. They just, I view it as the government, and I want the government to be able to provide the services that it needs to me as easily as possible. So they put citizen right at the heart of that. They brought in this cloud first policy. So to Steve's point, try to realize the technological benefits and sort of financial efficiencies of moving to the cloud. So all of this was happening just as we were founded. So we were caught up in that excitement. We've got those philosophies, particularly around citizen experience. That runs through us like words through rock. So it's a very natural fit for us as a place to work, which is really exciting. What do we do with government? It's a range of stuff. All of it centered, as I say, on that citizen journey. How can we, visit our website if you're interested, but we've got stories on there around, for example, Eat Out to Help Out, or the self-employed income support scheme. So sort of the self-employed version of furlough. We spun that up, working in partnership with other companies and with HMRC to make sure that, if you're self-employed, you're able to access that as quickly and easily as possible. So it's about making those journeys easier. But there are some niche challenges that government have as well that we like to support them on as well. So let's take the skills gap. Now, every company has a challenge with the digital skill set. Everyone wants more digital resource than they can find. Yeah, us, Steve, Mike, I'm sure we all, everyone wants more people than the country currently provides. With government, and there are infinite number of reports out on that, but with government, that is even more acute for a number of reasons. One, that they're starting in a slightly different place. So I think, according to the government, sort of the industry average for the percentage of digital roles in an organization is about 8 to 12%. So 8 to 12% of a standard workforce will be in digital roles. Government, that's around 5%. So they've got a bit of ground to make up to be on par with the private sector and with other organizations. And of course, they don't have sort of the number one lever that pops into people's minds when they think around how can we bring in more digital skills is of course salary, pay people more. The way government pay scales work and that paying framework means that's not always an option for government. So they've got a particular, while everyone has this challenge, they've got a particular challenge around how they can address that challenge. And so we try and make that a real core part of our offering for government, is how we help them use our learning from building a big digital workforce sort of from scratch ourselves and from our partners. How can we help them attract the right people, but just as importantly, train people up? How can they retain those people? How can they take people who aren't necessarily sort of digital natives and make them more familiar, help them into digital professions, so that enablement of their workforce? How can they learn from our team who are in there building the service with them? How can we do that knowledge transfer in a really effective way, so that when the project's done, we can step back and they don't need to keep relying on us? We're not in there to be really sticky and say, you'll never be able to deliver this without us. Our job is to go in there, build a great service, a great experience for citizens, and get them to the point where they can do it. So we're an HMRC accredited training provider. We do a lot of work with DWP on digital skilling as well. It's a really exciting part, and what a lot of our people really enjoy is doing that knowledge transfer, handing over their expertise, getting other people up to scratch. So that's a really big focus for us, and we've got a panel on this actually during TechNExt. So do come along if it's a topic you're interested in. I'm not saying we have all the answers, right? It's we've all got to be, to Steve's point around ecosystems, we've all got to be learning from each other as businesses, as government. No one has a silver bullet for this, and it's got to be an ongoing dialogue. And so you've got things like skills, you've got things like fraud and error and debt, a really interesting sort of government problem. How do you stop when someone's applying for a government service, for example? How do you stop error? How do you design that out at the start so an error doesn't then become compounded into a fraud and then doesn't become debt where they owe government money? It's inefficient for everyone. How can you, to the point about user-centered design, how can you design government services in such a way that it's as easy as possible to use, so you reduce the number of errors, you make it as hard as possible to defraud the taxpayer, and so you kind of design that out at the start, rather than sort of putting a lot of resource into remediation, into sort of clawing back overspends. And it's not just overspends, it's underspends as well, of course. Government needs to make sure that people receive the benefits that they need. So how can we make those systems as easy as possible? To Steve's point around, a lot of organizations have a lot of common problems. That's true of government as well, of course. Yes, there are things that HMRC do that only HMRC do. There are things that the Home Office do that only the Home Office do. But beneath that, there's a huge amount of common challenges, common problems. So another thing we try and do via our government partnerships is help everyone learn from each other. So if you've done a really interesting thing over here that can be sort of lifted and shifted, can be applied over here really straightforwardly, and you don't need to do it from scratch, that's something we're really keen to help our customers do. And so governments recently brought in a sort of a mantra they call buy once, use many, which is essentially that acknowledgement of there are some things, yes, sometimes departments are very special and you need bespoke solutions, but sometimes actually the problems are common, and you need to and you can use common solutions, and if the taxpayer has invested in a solution here, well, why can't that solution also be effective over here, instead of starting from the ground up, reinventing the wheel, and all that good stuff. And as it happens, we also have a panel on this during TechNExt. So well, slightly different, but we're going to be convening a really, I think it's one of the really interesting topics, a conversation on sort of build versus buy. So, you know, we deliver essentially bespoke software solutions. We'll come in and build something really specific, but we know that's not always the right answer. Sometimes, you know, we probably wouldn't come in and build an email system or something, because, you know, the COTS solutions there are so well established, so easy to use, that most people will just buy a standard COTS email client. But where those two meet, what the right balance is I think a really interesting point. I don't think, you talk across the industry, everyone feels that buyers never really get it spot on. There's always going to be a bit of tension there, but I think understanding, the best way of commissioning and delivering technology, and understanding that delivery model assessment, what's appropriate when, is, I think, a really interesting topic. And we're keen as Opencast. We don't want to just look at sort of what we do in bespoke. We don't want to go and say the answer is bespoke, the answer is always Opencast. That's never that's never our message. We'll go in and help when we think we're the right people to help, but sometimes that's not the answer, and we're keen to be the best supplier possible, the best partner possible, by making sure we understand that dynamic, and we're giving customers the best steer that we can. And that brings me on to another really important point about working with government, is the partnership approach. So we're really proud. We work really well, and it's a big part of the ethos we try and build among our companies, in sort of rainbow teams and blended teams, where a team might have a bunch of Opencast people building a service, but there'll be a bunch of customer people in there as well. There'll be a bunch of some other suppliers, and that's a really good environment when it's working well. And we're putting a lot of work into understanding how to maximize that collaboration. We're very pleased. We've just at the start of the year, or end of last year, we won an Institute for Collaborative Working award for our work with others in HMRC, which is tremendous to see. Getting that right is really important to us, and something we're always trying to improve on. We're always trying to learn how others are doing, but how do you bring together these disparate people to help them be greater than the sum of their parts, so everyone can put their best foot forward? It's a big part of what we're trying to do as well. So I've only touched on a couple of things we're doing during TechNExt. I could go on much longer, but I'll leave it there for now, and happy to. Well, Jamie, give me the nod if you want me to carry on. But I'll pick up any questions.
That was great. Thank you so much, Henry. And I really admire when someone speaks and they give a nod, or they do a perfect segue to something that they're about to say. So you had many what I would call Blue Peter moments, where it's almost like, here's one I've already made, where you sort of said, we're going to be talking about this topic, and by the way, you can come and hear a little bit more at TechNExt when the festival is on. So good content marketing. So I understand Opencast's approach, and I understand why you work with government, and how you form those partnerships, which is really essential. So is this reflection correct, that you're effectively saying, look, we go in and solve problems, but we're not there to be sticky. What you really enjoy is solving something and then moving on and really applying that, learning that kind of the scalable solutions in maybe some of the other sort of problems we're seeing from a digital user point of view, right?
Exactly right. I think we want to, where possible, we don't want to come in and be your organization. That's not who we are. We're coming to help you solve that problem, so you can then continually deliver that solution, deliver that service, while we move on to the next problem, and we'll help you with the next challenge. What's the next problem? We're not there to make sure you can't do anything without us. We're there to enable you, to make sure that that you're in a position where you can run this going forward, and we've helped you along the journey.
Cool.
That's what our people yeah, that's what our people really enjoy doing. And for us, we're very, oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think what I kind of really admire about Opencast from the outside looking in is that approach to people and how centric it is. So, for example, so I run a weekly digest mailer, which is basically a roundup of all sort of tech sector goings on in the region. And kudos to your comms people at Opencast, because you do feature heavily because you put a lot of stuff out there. And whether it's about sort of paying attention to the neurodiversity of maybe some of the talent that you bring in, or whether it's kind of exploring some of the different skills that you have in the team based on the department of government that you're looking to add value to. Do you find that when you're effectively working on these different projects, while you're applying a lot of learning, do you find that sometimes you do need different tech solutions and you have to go and sort of find different skills to be able to fix the bespoke problems you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always, we've got a broad partnership network. We're always growing it, so we make sure that you're absolutely right. So we're totally tech agnostic from that point of view.
Yes.
And what we'll go in and we'll assess the situation, and then we'll make sure that that we're working with the right partners to plug in the right components to solve that problem. But you're absolutely right on sort of the approach to people. It's one of the things that most attracted me to Opencast, is that it really is a people-centric organization. So the other reason that I didn't touch on why we do so much work with government. So we're very blessed. We're independently owned, which gives you a degree of flexibility as an organization. And the business took a decision several years ago, say, we will be steered by our people. We're only going to set people to work on things that they want to work on. So everything we do is informed by that. The reason, frankly, we do so much work with government, because that's where our people want to work. They want to do meaningful work that delivers to the UK public. And so we've taken that steer and focus on government. A couple of years ago, bit of merchant business. Oh, we want to do more actually in health. So now we've spun up a whole health pillar to do more there. So we're in this amazing position where we can be informed by our people to make sure they're doing work that really satisfies them, where they get fulfillment from it.
So I guess what you're saying, it's the nature of the work and the projects that they work on, rather than what you see in some headlines in the media. Some tech companies have a big slide in their office, or they've got a couple of pool tables in the cafeteria. What you're saying is people genuinely, they think that what they're doing is important, and that's where they want to apply their skill set, right?
Exactly right, exactly. And the hope is that because it's interesting, rewarding work, that they'll grow and enjoy life. And that's who Opencast want to be as a business. We want to take care of our people.
Cool. Well, I think as a way to sort of round this section off, Henry, we talked to Steve a bit about why Leighton have got involved in the festival, and Opencast were certainly involved last year as well. What is it that you're looking forward to from a TechNExt perspective this year?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, we were headline sponsor last year. We're headline sponsor this year, so that alone tells you that we got a lot out of it. We're super proud of not just our role in it, but of the whole Northeast tech sector, of the interesting stuff that's going on from us, Sage, Leighton. Some of our customers in government have huge bases in Newcastle. The big public-private sector mix is really important. It's a great dynamic ecosystem. I think what excites us, a couple of things. One, I spend a lot of time talking about the skills challenge. I think that's always a fascinating conversation. So how are other people, other tech businesses, other non-tech businesses who just have small tech functions, how are people approaching that? I think understanding, sharing, learning there is really important. Building that ecosystem is something we're always looking to do, because partnerships benefit everyone. The other thing that really excites us, to Sarah's point right at the beginning about TechNExt, even more so this year, is its national ambitions. It's not us talking to each other in the Northeast. It's the Northeast talking to the UK and beyond, and saying, this is who they are, this is who we are, this is what we've got going on. I think that message for this year is really exciting for us. Yeah, we're super proud of our Northeast roots, but,
Yep.
but like all the other organisations here, that's not exclusively where we play. We want to grow, we want to expand, we want to amplify and elevate that message. And so I think that focus for this year is really important and really exciting.
Brilliant. I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much. That was very insightful. Thank you, Henry.
Thanks so much.
And we'll see you during festival week, I'm sure. So next up, we're very lucky to have Mike Goodwin from Sage. Now, I'm sure for some of you watching and engaging with us today, Sage probably don't need an introduction, but I'll give one anyway. So Sage is Northeast born and bred tech company, one of the biggest that the UK and most successful that the UK is lucky to have. Started off in 1981. I don't think anyone even knew what. I don't think cloud accountancy software was even a thing until Sage came up and put their flag in the sand and said it was. So the fact that we've got Sage as a real cornerstone of the festival, and people like Mike who are involved in talking up the region and in helping us all understand what Sage still does in the region and still does around the globe today is huge. So we're very, very lucky to have Mike Goodwin with us. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Yes, so you're right. Sage was formed in Newcastle over 40 years ago in a pub. So the story goes. There's a picture in we have a kind of museum type area. And it's a picture of the pub where the company was formed by sort of 3 individuals. Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure, but it's a nice story. And we're still headquartered, so we're a global company, as you said, a FTSE 100 tech company, but we're headquartered here. I'm sitting in our global HQ in Cobalt at the moment. We moved here a couple of years ago, sort of during lockdown it was actually, and we have a nice big, very pleasant set of offices. No slides. It's nice, but we don't have slides, pool tables, or anything like that. We do have free coffee. Yes, we're very proud of our roots. I mean, you can probably tell from my accent that I'm an adopted Geordie rather than a native one, but I moved to Newcastle when I started working for Sage 18 years ago, and I don't plan or expect to ever move away. So we're all very proud of our Northeast roots, and we think that the Northeast are genuinely a great place to start and grow a business with all the sort of innovation, the transformation that's happening kind of on our doorstep. So as a result of that, we're very happy to support TechNExt this year. We supported it last year, and I spoke at one of the fringe events last year. Maybe doing the same thing again this year. We're happy to support it, but it's a very important role to promote digitalization of businesses, helping business understand how technology can knock down barriers and help them grow. And that aligns perfectly with Sage's business model and our mission, which is really as a sort of champion of small and medium-sized enterprises. And the opportunity is massive, we think. So the opportunity for growth is massive. So from studies that we've commissioned in the past, we think that if all the small businesses in the UK and medium-sized businesses sort of fully adopted digital tools and technologies that are available, it could unlock over £200 billion for the UK economy. So it's not a small amount of money by anybody's measure. But I think it's true to say at the moment that the UK is really underperforming when it comes to that adoption of digitalization. I mean, we work directly with government, so our CEO is part of the Prime Minister's Business Advisory Council, sort of championing small business and championing digitalization. And we also obviously work with regional organisations like Dynamo and with national organisations like Tech UK to help both develop the right policies to encourage our customers and SMEs generally to adopt these sort of transformational technologies, but also to create a kind of environment, especially in kind of regions like the Northeast where that's promoted as well. But alongside the sort of governmenty, that kind of lobbying style work we do, our core commitment really is to develop technologies that make the lives of our customers easier and improves the resilience of their business and strengthens their productivity. So I'm going to touch on a couple of those areas. These are two of probably the biggest technology innovation areas that Sage is investing in at the moment. One of those is AI. You're probably not surprised to hear, and I'll kind of come on to that in a few minutes. But the first one I wanted to talk about is what we call Sage Network. And the driver And that's the area of Sage that I spend most of my time in now. And the driver for Sage Network, it came from really the rise of, or the increasing amount of digitalization of workflows, including accounting workflows within businesses. And we think that's going to trigger a real big rethink in how accounting, which is one of our kind of core, business areas where our customers are, it's going to be a big rethink in how accounting's done, and especially in how accounting teams from different businesses work together to sort of deliver the business outcomes that they're wanting to. And if you think about it, the way that those teams work together, it probably hasn't changed much in like 500 years or so. It's there have been a couple of innovations. So first of all, we moved from human created documents that these teams are exchanging, so handwritten invoices and such, to machine created. And secondly, that we moved from delivering those via a human on a horse to delivering them via machines as well. But other than that, for most businesses, especially for SMEs who are our kind of core customer base, what this means is they're exchanging documents like PDFs over email, and really the whole thing is still mainly orchestrated on both sides by manual processes, by people. This goes for invoice exchange, goes for payments, credit notes, disputes, quotes. I mean, the list goes on. All of these processes are largely done manually still today. But we see this it's starting to change. So as countries start to mandate things like electronic exchange of invoices directly between accounting systems, so removing email from the picture altogether, that kind of mandate's going to be happening in the European Union, particularly in France and Germany and Spain very soon. I mean, the UK probably lagging behind on that. It's not something which I think is really on the government's agenda so far. Other countries will follow, though, particularly in the European Union. And this will be a form of digital connection between the accounting system, the accounting teams of different companies that will transform how those teams work together, we think. And it removes all that manual orchestration that takes up so much time and results in so much error and slow payment and loss of revenue. So that example of moving from PDF invoices over email to electronic invoices delivered straight from one company's system to another company's system is just one of many opportunities for businesses to connect more directly with their customers and with their suppliers and the rest of their business ecosystem. And it's that transformation, that direct connection is what Sage Network is designed to support. So what is it? Well, firstly, we plan to connect to the data of every single accounting system on the planet eventually. So obviously fairly ambitious. And that means for us, it's not just accounting systems that we build, it's the accounting systems of our competitors as well. So quite a big deal for us there. We're going to put an API on top of all that. And the API will enable developers, including Sage developers, but mostly external third-party developers, we would call them, to build applications that work across these businesses. And all those applications helping these accounting teams work together will build, in the end, a network of businesses that are digitally connected, potentially at a very deep level, so down to the level of their, sharing their financial information, maybe. And that's a real big shift for us. So up to this point, Sage, like most companies in the space, we've focused on streamlining and automating process and workflows within a business. Whereas Sage Network, really, it's bringing in a different era of what we refer to as networked accounting, which is all about streamlining and automating workflows between different businesses. It's a kind of big shift for us and for the industry generally, I think. And when we were trying to imagine, well, what are these workflows that are going to get automated and streamlined? We realized pretty early on that, well, we have some ideas about it. Obviously, like e-invoicing is one that we focus a lot on. We can't really know, and we think of it as similar to what happened with smartphones when they were first introduced. So I think nobody really knew what kind of apps people were going to build. I don't think anybody really thought, for example, that the iPhone would revolutionize how taxis work, like with Uber and so on. And in fact, I looked recently, one of the early iPhone adverts, and the way it described it was a widescreen iPod, which is, that's not really how you think about an iPhone today or a smartphone generally. So we kind of realized that, whatever applications are built on our API is not going to be Sage primarily that builds them. It's not going to be Sage that has the best and the most valuable ideas in the end. We need to be kind of humble and realistic about that. And this is where our API comes in. So from the outset, we've put a huge focus on the API, and we would design it with the same care as we would design a user experience, maybe more care. We build it using modern web standards and patterns, and it will be wrapped in a very simple, easy to use, wider developer experience. And we're working hard with developers, trying to understand what they need, with the goal of building a very vibrant ecosystem of applications for our customers to use. And we're genuinely really excited to see what people build. We don't know what they're going to build. I'm sure whatever it is, they'll very quickly exceed what we've managed to build ourselves. So that's Sage Network, and apart from the vibrant developer ecosystem that took on better productivity for our customers, one of the outcomes of all this digitalization of workflows, both inside businesses and between businesses, that we know that Sage Network is going to create, it will be a large, very rich, very diverse, very accessible data set, obviously wrapped up with strong security and a privacy model. And the data will describe how businesses are working and trading together. And that is rocket fuel for the other big investment that I want to talk about, which is AI. Now, we've been investing in Sage in AI for maybe 8 years now. As it happens, I was involved in one of our very early acquisitions in that space. We went out to San Francisco and we bought a small startup business there they were exactly like a San Francisco startup, a tech startup, as you imagine. They were basically in a shared garage with various other companies and an office dog walking about, and everybody turned up to work on a skateboard. It was exactly how you imagine it. But fantastic people. And so we bought that company. And the people that joined us with that acquisition, they've gone on to build and to form the nucleus of a really strong, fantastic AI capability. And they're a genuine center of excellence for us. And so fast forwarding to today, from back then 8 years ago, our customers now have about 50 million interactions every month with AI in our products in one form or another. So it's not a new thing for us, although it has radically changed recently, as you can probably imagine. So what we're doing with it, well, I would say typically our vision for AI distills down to a couple of different things, two things really. So the first one is just by freeing up time by automating these kind of low value repetitive tasks. And you can see that this is quite complementary to Sage Network, which is also about automating and streamlining. And these were the first applications of AI that we shipped as features in our products, mostly based around what I describe as traditional AI and machine learning models. So examples of that are about outlier detection. So that's like flagging potential errors in financial data, for example, and automated interpretation of documents like in invoices and PDFs to kind of extract them into a structured data model. They're the type of things that we're building initially. But then secondly, our other sort of pillar of our plan with AI is to, well, we're going to help our customers make the most of that time that we've liberated from automating those repetitive tasks by using probably more advanced AI models and techniques to offer recommendations and insights in real time to help them make faster decisions, better decisions, and generate savings and drive improvements in the business. And a couple of months ago, in February, we announced Sage Copilot, which is really the first kind of proper embodiment of that. It's a digital assistant based on a combination of traditional AI and generative AI, accessed using a simple natural language interface. And Copilot is designed to act as a trusted team member in our customers, so helping with admin tasks, generating invoices, sending invoices, doing forecasts, helping with cash flow, and much more of similar kinds of things. It's in a phase where we're getting customer feedback on it, so some of our customers are using it. The reception for it when we launched it was tremendous, and we're really, really excited to see how customers will use it in practice when it ships next month. It's going to be shipping for the first integration with one of our products in May, and then others later on. Now, I can't talk though about AI without touching on the subject of trust. So, and this includes the things like I consider like the table stakes, like we have to have good security, we have to have good privacy and compliance, but it also includes things which are specific to AI. So, I mean, anyone who's used generative AI in any depth will know that sometimes it gets things wrong, very wrong in some cases, and we call this hallucinations. It's how it's usually referred to. And because of the nature of our business, trust is very central to our brand and our success, and also the success of our customers, especially our professional customers like accountants. So this is a massive deal for us. I mean, you can imagine what would happen, right, if to a company if the exec assistant of the CFO was prone to hallucinations, right? It wouldn't be a good outcome for that business. It's very, very important to us. So we've invested heavily both in how do we improve the modeling techniques to improve accuracy, avoid hallucinations. And this has been one of our most fruitful areas for patents and for innovation recently. But aside from the technology, we've also invested and thought a lot about the wider governance of how we develop AI and how and when we deploy it and how and when we won't deploy it, to ensure things like we avoid bias. So it ensures trust, but also in wider things like we try to avoid bias by being very careful about the data sets that we use. We're keeping humans in control of that because they're businesses, right? So they need to be in control of them ultimately. And how we ensure transparency in how we're using the data, because ultimately the data doesn't necessarily belong to us that's powering these models. I mean, to help with that, we published our data and AI ethics principles towards the end of last year that describes our approach to this, and that's backed up by internal controls. It involves some of the most senior leaders in Sage, up to the level of the CEO, to make sure that these principles are embedded in how we work, so that we don't jeopardize the trust that our customers put in.
Sorry, Mike, just to jump in for a second, because I'm aware of time, and I've got something that I'm desperate to ask you.
Go for it.
So Sage, as you said right at the start, you've been around for over 40 years, and I actually think some people from the outside looking in would misunderstand the business model, and certainly I've probably been one of those people. But what you're effectively saying is you continue to innovate, you continue to evolve, and you continue to create products and solutions that solve problems. And it struck me when you were talking, you actually, despite being the size that you're at, you almost operate as a startup or a series of startups at times, because it sounds like you've got to educate your audience as well. You've got to do things like the Digital Britain report. You've got to, don't get me wrong, some people will know the need to digitize, absolutely, or they'll know why they desperately need one of your products. But in some cases, you've almost got to make the market mature enough, or make the customer understand why you need this.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 points there. I mean, we we have our fair share of corporate bureaucracy, like any FTSE 100 company. Sure. But yeah, I mean, somebody described Sage to me once as it's not a business, it's a federation of small businesses. And it does feel a bit like, maybe less so today, but it was certainly historically it's been a lot like that. So yeah, we try and maintain our agility. It's quite hard, as you imagine, but we do try. Yeah. But in terms of educating, yeah, I mean, it's like it's the sort of the age-old sort of Henry Ford faster horses thing. I mean, our customer base, unless they happen to be in a tech business themselves, they're not necessarily that tech savvy, and they've gone into business because they're passionate about the business they do. If you ever talk to, I'd love to talk to our small business customers, you come away with like a massive engaged sense of how they're passionate about whatever it is that their business does, whether it's a garden centre or anything. But they're in the business because they like that. They're not necessarily in the business because they deeply understand technology. So yeah, we position ourselves and try to act as a sort of advocate for our small businesses when we're talking to government about what do we think that our customers need on this digitization journey. And we obviously, that might sound a bit arrogant, but we really don't try to be arrogant. Right? We try and properly get under the skin of our customers, understand what their real problems are, and advocate for that.
Yeah, it makes total sense, and especially when you add in all of the stuff that you mentioned earlier about the ethics as well, right? And building and creating responsibly. It's pretty amazing, genuinely, from the outside looking in, to see the scale of that. Sort of develop new solutions, but equally have that synergy and consistency across the federation, as you put it. Amazing. Sorry, I've just seen
the ethical parts. Oh, go on. Sorry. Go.
No. We'll and listen. That's my segue to say, come to TechNext and continue the conversation, because there is so much more genuinely to talk about, both in terms of how we sustainably and scale what we have here in the Northeast, and how we become more inclusive, how we effectively how we continue to keep the Northeast on this upward trajectory, and keep the momentum going when we talk about the tech sector. So yes, I guess to round off, we've had 3 very, very passionate speakers, which we're lucky to have. So thank you so much to Mike, and to Henry and to Steve, who given their time up and given us a little bit of a taster. And we look forward to seeing everyone come and join us right across the Northeast at the TechNExt Festival, taking place 17th to 21st of June. So I think we'll leave it there, guys, but I'm genuinely very, very excited to see everyone and to keep talking Northeast Tech. So thank you so much.